The whisper of change. Once upon a time, in a vibrant village nestled at the foot of the great mountain, a young woman named Amara gazed towards the wild expanse of the savannah. The sun bathed everything in golden light, illuminating the tribal tattoos that traced patterns on her arms, stories from her ancestors that she yearned to honor. Yet today, her heart felt heavy with the weight of her dreams and the constraints of tradition. Amara had always felt like a lioness in a world of leashed dogs. Trained in the art of combat from an early age, she had mastered lessons in agility and strength, wielding her own spear with the finesse of a seasoned warrior. But no matter how skilled she became, the elders of her tribe whispered their doubts, believing a woman belonged in the home, tending to hearth and kin rather than facing the enemy on the battlefield. Amara, called Aziza, her childhood friend, bounding toward her with a smile brighter than the sun. With flowing black curls and hazel eyes shimmering with mischief, Aziza was the embodiment of joy, a spark in Amara's otherwise stormy heart. "Come. You must see what Kofi is teaching the boys." The challenge in her eyes stirred Amara's spirit. Perhaps it was unwise to dwell on her frustrations. She could channel her energy into support. With a nod, she followed Aziza towards the grassy training grounds, where warriors gathered under the watchful eyes of the elders. As they approached, the air thrummed with excitement. Young men were lined up, practicing their spear throwing, while Kofi stood before them, exuding confidence. Broad-shouldered and fiercely dedicated, Kofi was known among the tribe as the mightiest warrior. Despite his tough exterior, he was fiercely protective of his younger sisters, embodying the essence of honor ingrained in tribal culture. "Focus." Kofi's voice rang out, commanding attention as he demonstrated a precise throw. "Balance your stance, and let the spear fly true." Amara felt a longing in her chest. Every time she watched the warriors' practices, she reminisced about the countless evenings spent mimicking Kofi's moves in secret, honing her skills in the moonlight. If only the elders could see her potential, perhaps they would allow her to stand beside them in battle. "Why don't you show them what you can do?" Aziza whispered, nudging Amara playfully, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Me?" Amara hesitated, doubt creeping in. The elders would never allow it. Oh, but what if you dazzled them? Showcasing a woman's strength could shift their perspective. Aziza insisted, her voice melodic, yet insistent. Amara's heart raced as she watched Kofi reach for a spear. He turned his head, catching sight of the two girls. "Amara, come join us. This is no place for dawdlers." The momentum surged within her. For once, she felt a glimmer of swiftness emerge from her hesitation. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, grabbing a spear of her own. The other warriors stared, their eyebrows arched in disbelief, as she approached Kofi. "Now that you've decided to join us, let's see what you've got," he grinned. Taking her place in the line, Amara felt her palms sweat, yet her heart thrummed with defiance. She focused, commanding her body to find the rhythm, embracing her ancestry. With the elders' skeptical gazes weighing heavily upon her, she poised herself, retracing every lesson she had learned. "Focus on your alignment," Kofi's voice coaxed her with a quiet determination. "And let the spear dance from your hand like a bird taking flight." With that, Amara threw the spear. The challenge in her heart ignited into a flame as the weapon arced beautifully through the air, striking the target with a resounding thud. A gasp rippled through the gathered warriors. Kofi's eyes widened, disbelief washing over his features, followed by a surge of pride. "Incredible, Amara," he exclaimed, his voice echoing through the training grounds. "You've done well." In that moment, a sense of possibility dawned within Amara. She had caught a glimpse of what she could achieve if she embraced her identity as a warrior. Yet the murmurs of doubt still lingered, and the eyes of the elders weighed heavily on her mind. After the training session, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Amara found herself atop a rocky outcrop overlooking the village. The teachings of her parents echoed in her mind. Strength lies not only in physical prowess but in the heart's resolve. Elder Nia appeared beside her, her silver hair catching the last rays of sunlight. "I saw your performance today, Amara. You have a power within you that should not be ignored." Amara turned to face the elder. "But they won't accept me. They value only the strength of men." Her voice trembled with uncertainty. "I once had battles of my own to fight, Nia replied softly, her eyes reflecting wisdom shaped by years of experience. You must prove to the tribe that strength can arise from unexpected places. Speak your truth. Let your voice echo with the might of the warriors. With renewed resolve, Amara took a deep breath, knowing that change was necessary. The whispers of possibility turned into a symphony in her heart. She would embrace the challenge, for every warrior's heart beats with the courage to change the world around them. A storm of shadows. The vibrant sounds of the village buzzed like a swarm of bees, but beneath the surface lay a tension thick as the humid air before a storm. Families were gathered in their huts, and the usually jubilant laughter of children faded into hushed whispers. News had spread like wildfire amongst the tribespeople. An attack from a rival tribe was on the horizon, threatening their peaceful existence. Uncertainty hung over the village as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows that danced upon the earth. Kofi paced the warriors' training grounds, his mind racing as he felt the weight of duty pressing upon him. He was one of the fiercest warriors in the tribe, the man expected to lead them into battle. He had trained under the watchful eyes of the elders since boyhood, yet with the knowledge of war looming, he felt an unfamiliar stir of apprehension tugging at his confidence. A storm is coming, murmured Kofi to himself, casting an anxious glance at the configuration of the clouds above. His broad shoulders tightened, and his jaw clenched as the realization dawned upon him. This was not merely a skirmish, but a fight for their survival. As the warriors began arriving for the evening briefing, Amara's determined spirit flared within him. She had shown remarkable skill during training, fiercely defying expectations, and he felt a rift of admiration mixed with frustration at her unwavering resolve. He had tried to dismiss her strength previously, conditioned by the traditions around him, but he couldn't shake the realization that perhaps she possessed the very courage they all now needed. Warriors! Kofi shouted, rallying the group gathered around him. We must prepare ourselves, for the enemy approaches. This is our home, and we will not let fear shackle us. We will fight with our hearts and with all that we are. The warriors raised their arms, shouting in agreement, their resolve infused with the fire of the impending battle. Amara, at the back, watched Kofi, his confidence providing her strength. Yet she felt something deep within her, a nagging urge to join him, to use her abilities to create a united front with her community. She knew that the best way to protect her home was to embrace her warrior spirit. Amara, she heard Kofi call amidst the buzz of voices. Step forward. The crowd shifted, whispering in surprise, their eyes darting toward her. With her heart thudding in her chest, she stepped out from the shadows of uncertainty. I want to help, she declared, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves within her. We can train the women and children to defend themselves, ensuring no one is left unprotected. Murmurs erupted amongst the warriors, momentarily drowning out her voice. But this is a fight for warriors, one of the younger men protested, skepticism clouding his expression. War is not fought by strength alone, Kofi interjected, his voice calm yet authoritative. Amara seeks to protect our entire tribe. If we can empower everyone in our village, their spirits will bolster our efforts. A flicker of hope ignited within Amara. If Kofi supported her, perhaps the others would follow. Her heart swelled as she saw a mix of admiration and willingness in his gaze. With the evening sun painting the landscape in hues of red and gold, a plan began to take shape in her mind. As the briefing concluded, Kofi approached her. I admire your courage, Amara. In times of war, unity is crucial. Let's use your idea as a foundation for our stand. Thank you, Kofi, she replied, surprised yet grateful. I want to ensure that everyone, no matter their age or gender, has the chance to defend our home. Time passed swiftly, and under Kofi's guidance, both the warriors and Amara organized a training session for all the villagers. The field transformed into a hub of activity. A cacophony of laughter, shouts, and the ringing of practice weapons filled the air. Children practiced their footwork, while women learned to wield shields and spears with determination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, its glow replaced by the first glimmers of stars, Amara raised her own spear. She felt the ancestral energy coursing through her veins as she addressed the gathered villagers. Together, we are strong. Today we embrace our heritage and our power. The winds shifted suddenly, dark clouds rolling over the village, muting the stars as if the heavens sensed the storm brewing within the hearts of men and women alike. Amara, buoyed by the unwavering spirit around her, remained undeterred. But in the shadowy distance, a gathering force of warriors loomed, a stark reminder of the challenge they'd face. As night blanketed the tranquility of the village, uneasy hearts stirred in anxious anticipation. Little did Amara and Kofi know, the real storm was just beginning. Later that night, a sense of foreboding began to settle over Kofi. The sound of the distant drumming, reverberating like a heartbeat, filled the air. The rival tribe was closer than they had anticipated, their intentions unmistakably violent in nature. Kofi gathered a small group of warriors, fear and resolve mingling in their eyes. "We will stand watch over the village tonight. None shall enter without our knowledge," he declared, anchoring himself in the unwavering spirit that Amara had ignited within him. Together, they huddled under the starlit sky, their breaths merging with the heavy winds, ready to defend their home. As the shadows loomed closer, the storm of distrust and anxiety brewed in their midst, but with every heartbeat, the bond between the villagers grew stronger. For they were about to discover that only united could they face the darkness threatening to engulf everything they held dear. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue bringing more content your way. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the story. The Call of the Elder. In the heart of the village, where the ancient baobab tree stood as a sentinel over generations, the atmosphere crackled with tension and anticipation. As the threat from the rival tribe loomed closer, the village elders had summoned the people to discuss their fate. Amara, Kofi, and the rest of the villagers gathered in a semicircle beneath the sprawling branches of the tree, where the cool earth provided them solace against the churning fears swirling in the air. Elder Nia, with her silver hair glinting like moonlight, stood before the assembly. Her presence commanded respect, not just for her age but for the wisdom she had amassed through years of guiding the tribe through storms both literal and metaphorical. As she lifted her gnarled hands, silence fell over the crowd, the palpable tension dissipating slightly as they turned their attention to her. "Children of the great mountain," Nia began, her voice a soothing balm amidst their worries. "Times of challenge are upon us, and I sense the winds have turned from joy to foreboding. We must unite our hearts and minds, not just for survival, but to honor our ancestors who fought valiantly in their time." Amara's heart raced at the realization that Nia's words, although rooted in ancient tradition, were a beacon of hope. She stepped forward, seeking permission to speak, and the elder nodded sagely. "You have the heart of a warrior, Amara. Share your thoughts." "My elders," Amara began, her voice trembling yet resolute, "we must prepare not only our strongest fighters but our entire village. We rarely speak of the strength that lies within us as a community. Kofi and I have been organizing training, allowing everyone to learn the ways of defense. Our collective strength can become our greatest weapon." A ripple of murmurs traveled through the villagers. The men who had scoffed at her earlier attempts to join their ranks now shifted, curiosity beginning to spark in their eyes. It was a radical thought for many, yet there was also a yearning for change enveloping the gathered crowd. Elder Nia, sensing the stir of hope, took a step closer. "Amara speaks wisdom from her heart, and her call to arms is worthy of our consideration. In ages past, it was not only the warriors who defended our land, but the united spirit of every villager that kept our hearts unyielding. Skills can be learned, and courage can be shared." Kofi, encouraged by Nia's words, took a step forward. "Together, we can teach our people not just to fight but to protect. Let us open our training to everyone, regardless of age or gender, and instill in them the belief that they can stand against any threat." His voice rang clear, steadied by the realization of the power behind their unity. The villagers began to nod, voicing their agreements as excitement replaced doubt. Amara's heart soared as she felt the rhythm of courage thumping within them. Hope blossomed like a flower breaking through the soil, and for the first time, the villagers remembered the stories of resilience written in their history. Elder Nia raised her arms once again, her voice rising above the murmurs. "Let us not forge swords of fear but shields of unity. Our strength is our bonds. In numbers, we shall stand. We must prepare to face the storm, both within and outside our hearts. Gather your loved ones, your friends, and come together as one." As the meeting concluded, an electric energy coursed through the gathering. Villagers began to exchange glances, and whispers of agreement filled the air. a common purpose anchored within their hearts, replacing the dread that had lingered like a dark cloud. In the following days, the training sessions expanded. Children practiced under the watchful eyes of their parents, while women wielded staffs, learning the importance of defense in tandem with their role as nurturers. Amara reveled in the camaraderie that blossomed among the people. Laughter mingled with sturdy resolve, and the villagers began to embrace their identity as defenders of their home. Yet, despite the growing spirit, Amara knew time was fleeting. Each sunset felt like a countdown, a reminder of their impending confrontation. One evening, as she helped guide a group of young girls with their spears, her heart grew heavy with the weight of responsibility. She sidled up to Kofi, who monitored a nearby session of warriors practicing their strikes. "Kofi, what if we are not ready?" she asked quietly, vulnerability creeping into her voice. "What if the rival tribe comes before we prepare adequately?" The young warrior turned, his brow furrowed with determination. "We cannot control what lies ahead. But we can control what we do today. With each warrior trained, each spirit uplifted, we fortify the bonds that keep us strong. As the elders taught us, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." Their words resonated in Amara's heart, tugging at her conscience. She looked out over the training fields and saw mothers encouraging their children, warriors training side by side with elders. She believed in the power of their unity. As the two friends strategized for the coming days, the winds shifted, stirring the feeling that something monumental lay ahead. No longer were they simply a village of warriors, but a tribe woven together in resilience and hope. For as the shadow of the rival tribe drew nearer, the true strength of their spirit would soon be put to the test under the daunting night sky. A plan forged in the heart. The sun rose over the great mountain, casting golden rays that kissed the village awake. Amara stepped out of her hut, feeling the palpable energy of change swirling around her. Over the past days, the village had transformed. Laughter, shouts, and the sounds of training mingled in the air as everyone came together, united by a cause greater than themselves. She found Kofi by the training grounds, surrounded by a group of eager young warriors, their faces bright with determination. Their camaraderie warmed Amara's heart, but she sensed an undercurrent of tension. The looming threat from the rival tribe was too close for comfort, and she had noticed Kofi's shoulders tense more often than not. "Let's gather everyone today," Amara proposed as she joined him. "We need to finalize our plan." Kofi nodded in agreement, though his brow furrowed with concern. "We should have something solid to present to the villagers. The elders must see our preparation if we are to gain their full support." The two friends set to work, gathering villagers from every corner of the land. They needed to harness the newfound spirit in the community and channel it into a focused plan. Under the sprawling branches of the baobab tree, they called everyone to gather. Children, elders, women, and warriors all formed a diverse audience that buzzed with excitement and anxiety. Amara stood before them, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and exhilaration. This was a moment she had waited for, a chance to unite the village under one purpose. "We've trained hard, and our strength lies in our unity," Amara declared, raising her voice to meet the eager gazes. "Today, we forge a plan to protect our home. The rival tribe may come with weapons, but we will meet them with courage, strategy, and collaboration." Cheers erupted, enveloping her in a bubble of encouragement. She felt the energy of the people, electric and infectious, surge through their collective hopes. It fueled her passion to guide them. Kofi stepped forward, his stature exuding confidence. "We are no longer simply warriors or villagers. We are one tribe, prepared to defend not only our land but each other. We will divide into groups, ensuring that every aspect of our defense is covered." Amara nodded, feeling the adrenaline building. "We'll need scouts to keep watch in the savannah, ensuring we know before they strike. Warriors will fortify the eastern and western borders, the two likely points of attack. The women and children can gather in a safe zone, equipped with shields, where they can assist those in the fields." The villagers nodded, absorbing Amara's words, their spirits rising. Elder Nia stepped forward, her voice carrying the ancient weight of wisdom. "This is a wise approach. Still, let us remember that we should not fight with brute force alone. We need to harness our environment, take the high ground if the opportunity arises, and be mindful of our surroundings." Amara reflected on Nia's words, feeling the rhythm of her heart quicken. We can use the terrain to our advantage. The rocky outcrop north of the village will provide us with a vantage point. We'll have scouts there to alert us of any incoming force. A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd. The villagers started to discuss among themselves, dividing duties based on skills and strengths. Amara felt warmth bloom in her chest, her vision of unity becoming reality. She glanced at Kofi, who caught her eye and smiled, a rare moment of reassurance in the face of uncertainty. Hours later, plans were in motion. Amara moved through the village, pinning together details and weaving in the threads of collaboration. Children were trained to deliver messages quickly. Scattered groups of elders prepared to keep morale high among those sheltered in the safe zone. The glow of unity ignited the hearts of young and old. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Amara felt a weight settled on her shoulders. Kofi found her leaning against the same rock where they had trained, lost in thought. "This will work, won't it?" she asked, a hollow echo of doubt creeping into her voice. Kofi placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We cannot predict the enemy's actions, but if we stand together, we have a fighting chance. You have ignited a fire within our people, Amara. This is bigger than all of us." Feeling emboldened by Kofi's faith, Amara squared her shoulders, embracing the weight of the responsibility she carried. "I will do everything I can to protect them. We can't let fear dictate our actions." That night, the village was alive with the sounds of preparation. The stars twinkled overhead like a tapestry, coaxing a sense of hope among the gathering shadows. Little ones gathered around fires, listening to stories of bravery and valor told by the elders. As the villagers chatted and strategized, Amara and Kofi stood on the hill overlooking the village. In that moment, it felt as if the stars themselves could see the heart of their community, the threads of perseverance and courage woven tightly together. "We are ready, Kofi," Amara proclaimed with a newfound assurance. "No matter what tomorrow brings, we will be a united front. The strength of our hearts will guide us." Kofi grinned, feeling the spirit of determination enveloping them. Yet, in the distance, the horizon darkened, a reminder of what awaited them. As night enveloped the village, the stakes could not have been higher. But their alliance grew stronger with each passing moment, fueled by the very essence of their humanity. They would face the coming storm, not just as villagers but as one single heartbeat, echoing the resolve that would resonate through the ages. The Battle of Minds. The dawn broke with an unsettling stillness, the air heavy with anticipation as the villagers prepared for the potential encounter with the rival tribe. Amara stood at the edge of the training ground, her heart a battleground of conflicting emotions. She organized her thoughts as the village buzzed with energy, their collective hope illuminating the impending darkness that loomed beyond the horizon. Kofi joined her, his eyes scanning the eastern tree line where the first rays of sunlight stretched like fingers across the high grasslands. "We're ready," he said, but the tension in his voice betrayed the confidence he sought to project. "Everyone knows their place." "Ready, yes," Amara replied, "but we must not forget that the battle will not simply be of strength. It will be fought with our wits too. The enemy will test us, looking for weaknesses." Kofi nodded, acknowledging her words. They had spoken of this countless times during their planning sessions. The rival tribe was renowned for their brute strength, but Amara believed time had given her community a unique advantage, the gift of unity and clever strategy. Amara rallied some of the villagers for one final strategy meeting in the shade of the baobab tree. The familiar faces of women, children, and elders were now touched by a seriousness that amplified their presence. "We may face a superior force today," she began, "but our resolve is stronger when we act as one. Each of you has a role to play, whether it be direct combat or contributing from a distance. We will be their greatest challenge. Not because we can overpower them, but because we move in accord." Her words resonated, a reminder of the power they had cultivated together, like an ember nurtured into a flame. Elder Nia, seated among the participants, raised her hand. "What we need to remember is that the methods they use to instill fear in us can be turned against them. If they think they've bested us, they will hesitate, and that is where we capitalize." The murmurs of agreement surged through the gathering. Amara could see the people's spirits igniting, a belief that they could outsmart their would-be oppressors. "Let us prepare our defenses but also keep the element of surprise. If we can keep them guessing, they will be the ones to falter. As the day progressed, townsfolk spread themselves across the village perimeter, establishing positions. With Kofi leading the warriors and Amara overseeing the execution of their plan, everyone found a place and purpose. They gathered in clusters, exchanging glances filled with determination, ready to meet whatever came their way. As the sun hovered over the horizon, casting long shadows, a distant thundering echoed through the village. It was the sound of drums, rhythmic and purposeful, signaling the approach of the rival tribe. The once calm atmosphere thickened with dread, and every heart quickened in its beat. Kofi and Amara shared a final glance, a silent promise ignited between them. They took their places, Amara among the women and children stationed in the safe zone, while Kofi organized his warriors along the borders. The distant drumming grew louder, merging with the pounding of Amara's heart. As the rival tribe drew near, she noticed fierce figures emerging through the tall grass, their faces painted in tribal markings, poised for combat. The sight struck dread into her spirit, but in that moment, she reminded herself of the other warriors in her village who stood ready by her side, unified in purpose. With the enemy only yards away, she turned to the villagers. "We may not know what they'll do, but we must keep our wits about us. Trust in each other." The rival tribe halted, their leader, a broad-shouldered man with an intense glare, stepped forward. "Your efforts are commendable, but futile. We are here to reclaim what is rightfully ours. Leave or meet your end." Amara's heart raced, but she knew her response was vital. "We stand our ground. Your strength does not instill fear in us. It's your arrogance that will be your undoing today." Her voice rang out, carrying a sense of defiance and conviction that echoed throughout the gathering. "If it's a fight you want, we will give you one," came the growled response from the rival leader, and he gestured for his warriors to advance. The tension surged. It was a battle of minds as much as it was a physical confrontation. Kofi raised his hand, signaling for his warriors to hold their ground. With a sharp whistle, the ambush began. From the high ground Amara had chosen earlier, the scouts released a hail of stones. The loud crashing of rocks struck the enemy's confidence, catching them off guard. Amara felt a rush of unity. Members from her village had executed their roles flawlessly. "Now!" Kofi bellowed as the warriors surged forward, drawing their weapons as they charged at the rival fighters. The air crackled with adrenaline, cries of battle ringing vibrant and fierce. Amara watched from the safe zone, a mixture of pride and fear gripping her heart as she witnessed her people hold against the attacking force. She felt the pulse of the village. They were fighting together, positioning themselves to repel the oncoming tide. But suddenly, she noticed a dwindling gap forming amid the chaos, and the rival leader's gaze locked onto her community's weakest point. Panic exploded inside her. This was the moment she had warned about. "Kofi," she shouted, waving her arms to catch his attention. "They're flanking us." Kofi, catching her call, signaled to his warriors to shift their positions, but the rival tribe had anticipated this. With quick movement, they charged at the vulnerable opening, determined to strike where they perceived perceivable weakness. "Hold strong," Amara shouted, though her voice trembled as dread washed over her. "We can't let them break our spirits." A moment of silence fell amid the cacophony of battle, a heartbeat, a breath drawn in unison. The rival warriors surged forward, attempting to exploit the gap as a fierce clash of wills erupted. The battle was far from over, yet Amara could feel the strength of her people, the power grounded in their unity, ready to counter the threat in whatever form it took. Today would not simply be a test of strength, it would be a testament to the spirit forged in the hearts of a united tribe, yearning to protect all they held dear. A new dawn. The echoes of battle faded as the sun began to rise over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold, an offering of beauty after a night filled with strife. The village lay still, a tapestry of dust and lingering sounds, the aftermath of both conflict and victory. Amara stood amidst the quiet, her heart heavy but resilient, mindful of all the moments that had led them here. As the early mist rolled away, revealing wreckage from the clash, Amara's eyes swept over the battlefield. Bodies of both her people and the rival tribe were scattered, each one a reminder of the price paid for their survival. She inhaled deeply, her spirit fighting against the sorrow that threatened to engulf her. Kofi approached, bloodied but unbroken, his fierce determination cutting through the weight of the night. "We did it," he exclaimed, his voice raw yet triumphant. We stood our ground. The rival tribe retreated. Amara turned to him, searching his face for reassurance, which she found in his unwavering gaze. "But at what cost?" she whispered, her heart aching for the loss they had faced. "We must honor those lost in this battle." Kofi nodded, understanding her sorrow. "It's true. We'll honor them, but we should also remember that we fought as one. They will not soon forget the spirit and strength of our village." Word spread swiftly through the villagers, and soon after the battle, they gathered around the baobab tree, a place of unity and reflection. The mood was somber, but there was also a flickering sense of resilience in the air. Elder Nia stepped forward, her face lined with wisdom and grief. "Today, we mourn the loss of our brave warriors, but we also celebrate our refusal to be conquered. We stood together and fought as one, proving that true strength lies in unity." As the villagers bowed their heads, Amara felt something shift within her. She understood now that while they mourned their losses, they also had a responsibility to those who had fought alongside them. They had survived not just for themselves, but for the memories and spirit embedded in the very roots of their community. As the first light of dawn filtered through the trees, Amara's heart surged with purpose. She raised her head, looking into the eyes of her fellow villagers. "Today, we honor those we lost with remembrance and love. Let us not bind ourselves to fear, but embody the courage they showed in battle. We will rebuild and grow stronger together. We owe it to ourselves and to them." A spirit of determination rippled through the crowd, amplifying the connection they shared. Voices raised, and together, they pledged to honor the fallen by fostering peace, understanding, and strength while working tirelessly to restore what had been lost. As the sun climbed higher, casting warm light over the village, preparations to rebuild began. Those who had fought took up tools next to those who had sheltered, combining their efforts. The elders' wisdom guided them, and laughter slowly began to weave its way back into their lives. Tales of resilience replaced the lamentation, reminding them that they were stronger together. Amara found herself working alongside Aziza, sharing stories of the night and laughing through the sting of their losses. "It feels surreal," Aziza remarked as she placed another stone in the newly built wall of their home. "I thought I would never see again the familiar sight of our village, our home, whole once more." "It will be whole again, Aziza," Amara assured her, bolstered by the spirit of her people. "We are a phoenix, rising from our ashes. And we will make this space a beacon of hope, a testament to our survival." Inspired, every villager took it upon themselves to rebuild, not only their homes but their souls. They planted flowers where lives had been lost, turning reminders of pain into symbols of resilience. They learned the importance of vulnerability in creating bonds and the strength derived from shared experience. Days turned into weeks, and as autumn approached, the village had transformed. Flowers bloomed brightly in all corners, interwoven with the stories of the fallen that had once hung over them like shadows. The baobab tree stood tall, witnessing the growth of both roots and hearts, embracing the memory of every warrior it sheltered. One evening, as the sun sank low on the horizon, Amara gathered the villagers once more beneath the baobab, now adorned with colorful tapestries. "Look around us," she began, gesturing to her loved ones, the laughter of children echoing among the branches. "We have risen from darkness into the light. Together we stand, stronger than any tribe that dares to threaten us. Today, we celebrate the gift of one another, and let that guide us always." Cheers filled the air, a chorus of voices rising to meet the stars twinkling overhead. Amara felt a warm rush spread through her, a connection that transcended fear and loss. The villagers had embedded their hearts within the very fabric of their home, forged through the trials of the past and strengthened by unity. In the stillness that followed, Elder Nia approached her. "You led with compassion and strength, Amara. This village has been transformed, and the young will remember this legacy you have woven for them." Amara's heart swelled with gratitude, and she lowered her head. "We all did it together, Elder. The true victory lies in the bonds we've strengthened." The dawn that had once signaled caution transformed into one of hope, a promise of a new beginning. As the villagers shared their dreams and laughter, Amara allowed herself to simply be. She knew that even in sorrow, love and unity would always light the way forward. And so, under the watchful gaze of the great mountain, the village flourished, a testament to the enduring spirit of its people, bound not by the scars of battle but by the love that reshaped them, forever etched in the heart of their tribe. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to join us for more amazing stories every day. Here at Daily Anything History, there's always something new to discover. See you in the next video.